Welcome everybody back to it's 2023 on the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am your host, the Metal Geek, with on side the great good Joe
Okay,
the Panther.
Mute his microphone. Welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am your host, Joe the Panther, the third, and now from the top of Metal Mountain, all the covered with subpoenas, because Joe's about to drop one on you. It's the Happy Heel himself, the Metal Geek.
What's going on, Ringside Crew? What's going on, internationally known? What's going on, everybody? How's it going? It's 2023. How's it going, everybody? It's like, welcome to season 3 of the Dudes at Ringside podcast. Are you ready?
And most importantly, Geek, you forgot to say this because you're always funny about announcing things more than I do, and you remember more than I do because I have a memory of a stoner.
Yeah.
But I don't smoke weed that much. But we also welcome to Long Island Wrestling Month.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
all right. Let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to our guest. He's the legendary balloon artist, Mr. Poppin Twist.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
About to drop a subpoena on Geek like a balloon animal. Using my phrase. Get your own, Geek. You have yours own. Jeez. I'm writing it up now on my sticky note. Make sure, rule 1. None fear. Write long subpoena for Geek. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Starts. So, all right. Mr. Poppin Twist, if our fans aren't familiar with you, introduce yourself.
Oh, sure. I am, as Metal Geek likes to, when we start with this one, I am the one and only balloon bending, fun sending, hero making, challenge taking, twisting, popping, never stopping, true entertainer of the wrestling world and beyond, Mr. Poppin Twist. I am a balloon based entertainer here from Long Island, and I have been a fixture at wrestling events for about 8 out of 11 years that I've been doing this professionally.
Wow. Hey, who knew you would be starting off Long Island Wrestling Month for the dudes? You know,
I didn't know that. So
and the year.
I'm a Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah, you too, my man.
Yeah,
you too.
I'm thrilled to be here. It's been a long time coming. Schedules were all over the place, but I'm glad we can make this work. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah. And also you're the season premiere too, the opener.
Nothing but the best.
You're the start of the relay. I guess you'd be the backstroke in the IM relay.
All right. Don't make me the crawl. I'm not a crawl fan.
I'm the butterfly because I have the big arm. I used to have them big arms. I'm the butterfly. Go. Yes.
Yeah, backstroke, freestyle. Okay, I'll take one of those two. I'll be all right with that.
I guess Geek would have to be. I guess you're back. I guess Geek would be breaststroke. Can you do breaststroke? That's the only problem. Hey guys, hey, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? One of our friends in the UK, how's it going? Everyone says they want Mr. Hammerhead Smith on our podcast, so that would be awesome too. But Mr. Poppin Twist is awesome as well. You know,
Hammerhead Smith. We'll have to look him up.
Yeah, he's a good wrestler. He's somebody
you
should look up. A lot of people say he's like a Zack Sabre. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, like the equivalent. So
there's like being Geek since Mr. Poppin Twist. So like since we've been like interviewing people from the UK, I've been finding their YouTube channels, that the individual or the promotions, and like I'll follow. You subscribe to YouTube channels. Like if you haven't subscribed to ours, subscribe today. I go on there and then my things I should watch is all independent wrestling, and I'm like, okay, start of the year. I'm gonna say this: any promotions that are watching this podcast on YouTube, please send us your YouTube channels on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook so we can watch you American wrestling promotions. Thank you. Now back to the podcast.
Yeah.
So, like, when did you get your start at being a balloon guy like this?
In balloons or in wrestling?
Oh, balloons, I guess.
Balloons first. Right.
So people know me that I there are some places I go. I tell this story about 50 times in a row. So it's been pared down to a very quick story. I used to work in television. I used to work in a variety of networks all over the New York and tri-state area. I found myself in between jobs when the economy took a big dive. And it was on 2008, 2009. And I was at a party with my son, who was 4 years old at the time. There was a balloon artist at the party, and my son was just transfixed for an hour and a half. Just sat there, got his balloon, and then just sat there and watched this guy do his work for an hour and a half. And I was like, holy cow, if you can keep my 4-year-old still for an hour and a half, you're a wizard. Show me your tricks, So a couple of weeks later, I'm walking through the mall with my son and my wife, and there's a little bag of balloons with a little pump, a little piece of cardboard, how to make a dog, how to make a sword, how to make a flower. And so we bought that. And on a Saturday afternoon, we were bored, and we just made everything that we had in that book, the dogs and flowers and swords and whatever we could come up with. And he liked it, and I liked it. And we would just play with balloons on our own. A couple of months later, I find a guy who had a shop, he had a magic shop, and he did balloon lessons for beginners once every month. And I asked him how old you had to be to take a class, and he goes, "How old's your son?" I said, "My son is 4.5." He goes, "That's fine." So my son and I took a class for twisting balloons when my son was 4.5. And the rest, as they say, is history, because it became very organic from there. We just practiced balloons. My wife would come home from work. She'd see a couch full of balloons. She'd be like, "Get these out of my house," because you're taking up the whole house with balloons. So I take them to parties. I take them to events, my son's school, all these places. And it got to the point where I got confident enough that I could maybe do this for some extra money, because at that time I was a stay-at-home dad, and I got this opportunity for there was a person who I knew through wrestling, and Diane Peterson. She's the mother of Ryan Peterson, who you might know. He's a ring announcer all over Long Island wrestling, as well as MMA and a lot of other events.
Great pro.
We lost her recently. She was a very, very nice lady, but I knew through wrestling events, and she asked me to come do an event for her for a benefit for cystic fibrosis. And I said, sure, no problem. And I didn't know how I was going to do it, because I had never really done an event officially yet. But I booked it with her. I said, great, I'll be there. And then I had about 24 hours to figure out what I wanted to do, because Derek the Balloon Twister had no flair, and I wanted to be a little bit more fun than Derek the Balloon Twister. So I texted all my theater friends, and I said, guys, I have a gig in 24 hours. Name me. And I got about 50 texts back, all things from all the places. And I took 3 of them and put them all together and made Mr. Poppin Twist. And I've been Mr. Poppin Twist ever since. And I went all in on that name. I researched it. I made sure no one has done a name that was anywhere near close to that. And I got the website, and I got the Facebook page, and I got all that stuff so I could lock it in. And I've been Mr. Poppin Twist ever since.
That's awesome. And you just don't make balloon animals or anything like a basic person at a party. You actually make wrestlers balloons, and you make them,
Yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, I can go to a party and make dogs and flowers and swords. That's not a problem. I mean, that's the bread and butter of the balloon, entertainment industry. But no, I can't draw and I can't paint, but I got pretty good at the balloon side of things. So I was trying to use like what I did to have some fun in an arena that I love, which is pro wrestling. I've been a pro wrestling fan since I was a very tiny kid. I came up, watching in the early 80s with Superstation, TBS, watching Crockett and all those guys and everything, because I had family in Virginia and the South and everything. But I got started doing balloons of wrestlers because of 2 guys. One is Len Oddity, and the other Mick Foley. So Len Oddity, I was running camera. I would run camera for the Fight the World Wrestling events when he was there, and I knew a lot of guys in Fight the World Wrestling, and I was doing balloons, and so he said, hey. And he, if you know Len Oddity, he had a tattooed, tattooed circus geek clown gimmick, And so he said, make me a bunch of balloons, and I'll sell them all at my gig table, and we'll split the profits. I was like, okay, that's great, whatever you want. So I made stuff inspired by Len and inspired by his merch and his designs and everything. And he sold all the balloons, and that was it. And then I started doing balloons of the guys who were there at FTW at the time. So I'm doing balloons of Dan Barry and Cooter and all these different guys, And fast forward about 6 months, I'm at an event. My wife has a charity event in her job every year, And Mick Foley was a staple of that charity event for about 5 years in a row. And I would be brought in to be his escort. I'd hold his sign, Mick Foley written on it, and I'd walk around, give him the pens to sign autographs. People give me their camera, I take pictures. I would just do support in that regard. We're standing backstage waiting to go out on the floor, and one of the people who knew my wife, knew I did balloons, was like, "Oh, how's the balloon business going?" And so I started talking to her about that, and then Mick goes, "Oh, you twist balloons?" And I said, "Yeah, and I make a lot of wrestlers, some guys you might know." And I'm showing him pictures of these guys. He was like, "How would you like to come do balloons at my comedy show?" Yeah, wow. You got it. I would love to do that a lot. I'm your guy. So he booked me to go and do audience support for his comedy show. I did that about 5 or 6 times over the span of 3 years.
That's amazing, though.
It was a lot of fun. It was one of those things where, like, and I said, if I had the angels in the entertainment business, that would be Len Oddity is why I do balloons for wrestlers, and Mick is why people know who I am. He also is the reason why I wear this shirt, because Mick Foley bought my first one of these shirts.
That's amazing.
Everyone says Mick is known for being a little on the frugal side, but he bought me. He found this shirt. He bought it for me. He emailed me and said, "I have something for you." I said, "Okay, great." I didn't see him for 3 months. He invited me to come do a radio appearance with him at a radio station. And I showed up in the parking lot, and much like the old Mean Joe Green Dr. Pepper commercial where Mean Joe Green throws the kid the football jersey, I meet Mick in his car, and he throws me this shirt, and I've had this shirt ever since. And it's in my logo, it's in all my I walk into the room, people see this shirt before they ever see me, and so it's been my one of the best things that ever happened in the branding of Mr. Poppin Twist.
Damn, So who are some of your favorite wrestlers you would say that you came out like, oh man, this actually looks like him, that came out the best?
Okay, yeah, well, that's the best part. In my line of work, I always say that I picture something in my brain, and if I'm lucky, my picture goes through my arms, down through my fingers, into the balloons, and makes what it's supposed to look like. Sometimes it doesn't go that way, and it takes a little extra work, but usually, I've had a lot of success with it. Much more now than I did in the beginning. In the beginning, my balloons were a little more rudimentary, a little more basic. And in the last 2-3 years, I think my talent levels got improved, my experience has improved, and I like to have a little bit more look in things. I made a Lash LaRue balloon a couple of like last year that I was very proud of. I did an AJ Styles that I thought was great. I did a Godfather with the chains and the hat and the whole 9 yards. All those balloons can be found on my social medias. That I post all my stuff up all the time because pictures last longer than the actual balloons do. So I find it easier to post pictures of stuff. I made a Sheamus back when Sheamus had the crazy high mohawk that I was very happy with. I made a full size Rage balloon for Rage. Rage is one of my big friends in the business. I have made, at this point, I don't have an exact count, but I have made upwards of over 225 different wrestlers out of balloons over the last 10 years.
Wow. That's amazing.
A number.
You think there's so many different types of balloons that you've made, and you don't think, oh, this makes a kid, it affects a kid. You get in the car and the kid's quiet and he's smiling, looking at his doll. You made the day.
Yeah.
You saved that parent from hearing a kid scream the whole ride home. Yeah. You know what I mean? Dude, you know what I mean?
and then it pops. They start to cry and have ruined the
whole God. As soon as
they
turn to the driveway, the kid hear pow.
And that pop noise is loud, by the way.
No, for sure. But like I said, I've had great opportunities to make balloons. I call it the Poppin Twist Club. The Poppin Twist Club is any wrestler who I've made a balloon for. But then the best parts are made a balloon of. But the best parts when you make the balloon for, because what's always awesome is a balloon brings the kid out of everybody. So it doesn't matter how rough and tough the wrestler is, their persona might be. I've made 50-year-old grizzled wrestlers into 12-year-old kids with balloons,
geez.
and that's like the best gift I can even imagine. You know, I've had Greg the Hammer Valentine, you know, hold a balloon, and he was like big smiles, and he was loving it. You know, the story I like to tell. What's that?
You made the Hammer smile. That's tough.
Yeah.
That man always looks like he wants to break someone's neck.
This is if making the Hammer smile is impressive, I'll go one step further on this one. A couple of years ago, I'm at Eternal Con, and Bully Ray was there when he was with Velvet Sky. Now Velvet Sky, because she knows Mick and a bunch of, so she knew my work before Bully Ray knew my work. So when we met officially, she had already known my reputation, which was awesome. So she can you make a Bully Ray balloon? I was like, yeah, no problem. And so what I was doing, I'd start the balloon, I'd make a little part of it, I'd stash it in my shirt, I'd walk over and I'd put my back to Bully Ray, which I would put my life in my own hands at that point. But I put my back to Bully Ray. I open the shirt, show Velvet the balloon, then cover it back up and walk back and keep working on it. So I'm building up this anticipation for him, you know, to see the balloon. And as I'm doing it, he's getting more and more excited. He's getting more and more like jovial about, you know, he started to break the gimmick a little bit. You know, he wasn't playing, you know, and so I bring over the finished balloon, and he was so happy with it. He took a picture, and I have a picture with him, and he's smiling. And notoriously, Bully Ray doesn't smile in photos, but I got one of them smiling.
Wow, that's amazing.
I met him in Jersey.
I'll call that a feather in my cap, as it were. You know.
Oh yeah.
Break the kayfabe right there. If you could make an MJF balloon and make him smile, then there you go. You made somebody.
I've made an MJF balloon of him, not for him yet, but I think it'll happen. I comment to people, especially the workers, talking about Long Island wrestling. You know, said I've been doing balloons at wrestling events for a long time, and you know, even 8-10 years. So if you look at that situation, there's a lot of guys who came up on Long Island through Creative Pro, through FTW, through a lot of other places, even DPW, where I work a lot now. And you have these guys, and they come up through, and I've been there. So I feel like kind of like the goofy, crazy uncle to a lot of these guys who are breaking in and making it now, you know. And like, it's like I have, like, I'm not trying to shoot too much, but like I have stories where, you know, I made a balloon for MJF when he was still training of Ric Flair, you know. So when I look at him on television, I know, you know what? There was a time when he was an up-and-coming guy, and I made a balloon for him, and it was the coolest thing, and he had a good time. And, you know, that's it. I got a from one of the workers, Dante Drago.
Dante's awesome.
He said it was getting a Dante Drago balloon was a bucket list item for him, and so I started finding ways that I could use that, because everything I come up with is part of this gimmick, this Mr. Poppin Twist gimmick, which is not a bad thing. It's just it's me at 11. You know, I'm not cruising this altitude on my daily basis. But Mr. Poppin Twist walks into a room, and it's, you know, he's loud, he draws a crowd, but I love wrestling, so I'm here to make those guys look good. I'm here to get you to come to the show so you can watch them do what they're trying to do. I'm as I say, I'm here to attract, not to distract. You know, I want, you know, that's my goal. So I said, I was trying to like form like another catchphrase in my head, like, you haven't made it in wrestling until you've been made in balloons by Mr. Poppin Twist.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, so you know, all these guys, who, you know, I've seen them come up, you know, and I've been in training classes, you know, because like I got to go and watch. I got to go watch Mick Foley do a seminar for FTW wrestlers, and it was just amazing to watch that from, you know, fly on the wall, kind of just take notes and you know, and just kind of be present in that experience. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I said I've gotten to hobnob with people that on a different level than I thought I would. I can walk because now I do enough shows. I do conventions and I do wrestling shows. So people walk in, they know who Mr. Poppin Twist is. It's not like I'm just a fan. I am a fan. I'm a fan of a lot of things, but it's also I think everyone's a fan of something. It doesn't matter how old you get, what line of work you're in. You're always a fan of something, and you can always find that thing you're a fan of. And so I help bring that kid out of people,
And speaking of Papa, it's Papa Danks in the chat right now.
Your tongue today, Geek?
I'm sorry, but no, it's Papa Danks is in the chat right now. It says,
how many energy drinks did you drink today, Geek?
Not enough.
He's acting like
enough.
Papa Twist. Do you watch Family Guy?
I've watched some Family Guy. I've not watched all.
You ever see? I'm gonna have to find the clip again of Stewie Griffin drinking a Monster. I swear, Papa Twist, his eyes are this big. He's like, Buster, it's green because it's from the earth. It's like it's Metal Geek like an hour before.
By the way, we are sponsored by Monster. You gotta feel the beast.
No,
feel the beast.
I forgot to say this before. I want to send a thank you to CCW. I won a contest for them, and I won a T-shirt. So thank you so much for that. Now back to the podcast.
Yeah.
But you asked before, I've had an opportunity. I had an opportunity to make a balloon for Roddy Piper, before he passed away. Actually, about 6 months before he passed away. And I'm a Roddy Piper fan. He's a top tier, top 5 favorite of mine of all time. And so I've had an opportunity on two fronts. One, I actually ran camera when he appeared at an FTW show, and I ran camera for a Piper's Pit segment. So I got to be right up in front of watching him do that. So that part, that geek part of me was all in, to be right there and be present when he's doing what he does best. And then a couple of years later, I come to this event. He recognized me from that, because we chatted backstage, but I come with the balloon, and his persona in the ring was much like me, was so much higher in energy than his normal life was. And so it was, I brought the balloon over, and he's like, "Oh man, would you look at that thing? Isn't that the craziest thing you ever saw?" And I'm like, yeah, so he got a picture taken with it, and he was all cool. And so I had that opportunity. I had an opportunity to give a balloon to China,
Wow.
So like these are moments that are just, they're like once in a lifetime, that never gonna have again, kind of things that I was just lucky to be in the right place at the right time. But those are all things that I try to use to build the reputation of Mr. Poppin Twist. Especially when I try to bring to an event.
Can we show some of these pictures from Instagram, or are we allowed? Or
yeah, you got stuff from Instagram?
Yeah, I could share it from your Instagram.
Yeah,
if you want me to show you.
Yeah,
well, there's another promotion you forgot to mention from Long Island.
If that's okay, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, no, my social medias are public and family friendly, so there's never a problem.
Right.
Anything that's on my social medias, can be shown. Absolutely.
Well,
all right.
The one for promotion you forgot, and you would be cool if you work for them one day. NYWC, that's another good one.
Yeah, NYWC.
There's the China one.
The joke is they are they don't need me. They're big enough already. They don't need any help.
Yeah. There you go. There's the one with China right there.
Yeah. That was.
Oh, that's a nice picture of China too.
Oh yeah. No, that was a great. That's the one. That was the day that she reconnected with Mick Foley, and Mick had his whole thing on his podcast, which is why I posted that, because I've been a big fan of the Foley is Pod podcast. And it's funny because, like you said, there's a chunk of his time where Mick and I were on a parallel path. So I again, if you would have asked, college age Derek if he would make balloons for Mick Foley one day, I'd say you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
But I a lot of my stuff lately has been just promotion for where I'm going to be and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's one of these days. My website is currently down. My website got obliterated. I'm not sure how it. All of a sudden, I just lost everything that was on it.
Oh God.
There was it was something that I got an apology from my web host, but I was not the only one person that was affected. But yeah, everything was gone. So I still have the domain; it's still mine. I just haven't put the new website up yet. I'm still working on it. Oh yeah, there's Ethan Page in the middle there.
Oh, there's Angry Kip. We're gonna have him on the podcast soon.
Yeah, I haven't made a balloon of Angry Kip yet. I've made a balloon of Good Guy, but not the angry one.
Good Guy, Nerd Kip,
and pop it.
Yeah, they're just scrolling right now.
Oh yeah. There's if any more wrestlers pop up, I'll slow you down. But yeah, I posted a thing. Not there's okay there right there in the middle. That
right in the middle. Which one? Read that one? That one?
Yeah.
The rocket. The rocket one.
One more. The one with the red background.
Down more.
Do you yeah?
I see that one. Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Think ECW.
Oh, Tommy Dreamer.
Close. Mikey Whipwreck.
Oh, Mikey. Oh, Mikey with hair. Mikey with hair. I met Mikey. Yeah.
Right. This is traditional 1990s ECW Mikey Whipwreck.
Oh God.
And I avoided that for the longest time because he wore that crazy over the top graphic dragon shirt. And I wanted to make sure that I could do it justice. So I waited a while before I tried it, and then I made the whole design, and then went with paint markers and drew that dragon on the shirt. It took me much too long to do it, but I'm very pleased with how it worked out.
Looks amazing, by the way.
Old school. I like to go with a lot of my designs. I like to go with the old school look, because the more retro wrestlers have a more I guess distinctive design. So like I make the joke, you can take 5 wrestlers who are wrestling right now, put them side by side, and in real life they look different, but you put them side by side in balloon form, they all look the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's not a dig. It's just that's just the way the look. That's what people are doing right now. That's the look they're going for, and that's awesome. But in my line of work, I need a little more detail, a little more variety. So I'll usually go and find an older school version of somebody, a retro version, because the 80s and 90s looks were different than what the looks are right now.
Yeah, you by the way, your work's amazing. By the way,
thank you. I appreciate that. I work hard. I've been doing it a long time.
I really like the rocket one. Came out good from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
that came out really good.
I try to do a full size thing for Free Comic Book Day every year. I appear at 2 stores on Free Comic Book Day, which is the first Saturday in May. I appear at Comic Book Depot in Wantagh, and I appear at Genesis Comics and Gaming in Ronkonkoma. And I like to bring a nice big piece. The problem is, like, life size is fun, but life size is also 6-7 feet tall.
Yeah.
So I try to do life size but small. So I've done Rocket Raccoon, and I've done Gollum, and I've done Puck, and I've done like from Alpha Flight. So I'll do like superheroes and stuff that I do in the actual size, but they're not more than 3 or 4 feet tall.
You should do Slimer.
Yeah. I have done Slimer.
You know who you need to meet? You got to meet Dan Aykroyd and give him and make him a Slimer.
That would be amazing. I'd like to meet Dan Aykroyd and talk to him about a lot of things.
He does go to a lot of liquor stores to sell the Crystal Skull vodka. I don't know when he's
That's right.
He has the Dan Aykroyd store.
I met Dan DeVito once at a liquor store.
Oh wow!
Years ago, he was selling Dan DeVito was selling a limoncello, and he was trying to promote it. And there was a Long Island, there was a place on Long Island, bottles and cases, and they had him come in and do a signing, a bottle signing. So I have a photo op with him. The bottle I gave to as a gift to my my in-laws, but the picture with me is enough. I'm happy to have the photo. You know. Oh yeah, that's a lot of that's a lot of VPW. That's a BPW who's who right there.
Yeah, there you go. Shouts out to BPW right there. These must take time, man. How long do these take exactly? How long do these take exactly?
I mean, I can do one in 30 minutes if I rush a little bit, you know. I mean, if I rush a lot and it's not a very detailed character, I can probably do it in 20 minutes. I like to take my time with them, especially at a show. I'll try. So I try to average 30 to 45 minutes on the highly detailed ones, and then, you know, normally I have that kind of time at a show. I'm busiest at a wrestling show usually before the first bell at intermission, and then I'm usually by the end of the night. I don't do much by the end of the night. So I'll usually come in early, build one piece to start off the night to set the trend. Like, oh, guys, this is what I can do if you want to go that route. If not, we can do more simple stuff. I can make dogs and swords and flowers. I can make, you know, wrestling belts that are a big hit for when I do at shows. And then I'll do one towards the end of the night when I have that kind of time. But yeah, you know, they take on average about 30 minutes to do, maybe a little less if it's not too, you know, there's not too much in it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then so that's a lot of the that's about 2.5 years of work. You know, if you look at them all together, because I've made some at earlier shows and some at later shows. That's not even all of them, but that's a good chunk of them. I think there's one or two left that I haven't done that weren't on that in that.
You need to make everybody that size and then make radio smaller than everybody because it's wrestlers. Or he used to be like, make me life size. I want to be bigger than everybody else, like a giant. No,
I was. I started a feud with Johnny Collins, and I made a thing like when he was going on his whole thing with in VPW, he had the even Stevens were winning all his matches for him, and it was driving me crazy as a fan. So I cut a promo on him because I'm like, why not, you know? And so I said, you know, hey, it's okay, Johnny, don't feel bad. I'll make it up to you. I made a life-size Johnny Collins balloon, and I picked it up, and it was about this big.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah, no. He, outside the ring, a nice guy, and you know, and I appreciate all of his hard work, and he really does. You know, he's done a lot for himself. But inside the ring during that run, I wanted to beat the heck out of him.
Yeah, he does talk a lot, but you know what? He's a super nice person. You
Absolutely,
know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Great person, great mind to talk to. You know,
and that's the thing. You know, that's the not to spoil everything, but no, not every wrestler is the guy they portray on television or in the ring. A lot of guys aren't like that. You know,
no.
You know, they're not jerks. You know, you know, but at the same time, there are some real nice guys in the ring who are big jerks outside the ring. It's just the way life works. Everyone's different.
Joe, you want to see the Scott Hall one or no?
Yes,
Zoom in on that.
Of course, Scott Hall.
I made that for him. That was actually at an FTW show at the NYWC Sportatorium.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I've appeared when you made the joke about NYWC. I've appeared at NYWC Sportatorium about 4 or 5 times in my career, but never for NYWC.
Oh wow!
I went for FTW. I did SWA. I did Stronghold Wrestling there. I did NEW. That was a short-lived promotion. Didn't go really long. But yeah, so I've appeared at NYWC Arena, but just not for NYWC.
NEW. That sounds familiar.
No, I think
like new event or next. I'm not sure. It was they. Yeah,
I think it's all about New England one.
I thought some of the guys.
I thought there was one that was in upstate New York that travels from New York to New England. Maybe that's not the same one, but there's one that I went to.
It's easy. It's easy to have. You know, there's only 3 letters in a lot of these wrestling. You know, things, so it's easy for them to just end up having the same initials but different words. You know, like Victory Pro Wrestling's been around for a long time, but you can find VPW in other places that aren't associated with them. It's just how it works.
Well, it's guys from the Warriors, all right? Warriors?
Yeah. Yeah, I've done at this point in my career, I've done balloons of 3 warriors, but I've done balloons for 4 warriors.
Mm.
Yeah, I've for Vermin, Cochise, Ajax, and I made a balloon for Swan, but I made a balloon of his character from Xanadu and not from the Warriors.
Oh no.
And there's Smart Mark Sterling on yeah, I've been inspired by and made balloons of many people. I've made only a few people have ever gotten what I call the 3 faces treatment. Mick obviously got the 3 faces treatment in a smaller version. I'm planning on doing an updated version of Mankind and Dude Love. I've never actually given him like the full look in that regard. I've done the 3 faces of Fred Ottman. So I did Tugboat, Typhoon, and Shockmaster.
I was about to say Shockmaster.
Yep. And I've done the 3 faces of Mark Marrow, Johnny B. Bad, Wild Man Mark Marrow, and Marvelous Mark Marrow.
Yeah. Also, you are on Comic Book Men as well. So.
I was on Comic Book Men. That's still a career and a life highlight for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. I have been since college, and I was a big fan of the show. And I actually got recruited to apply at an Eternal Con in like 2013. Mm-hmm. And I applied, and I met Ming. I know Ming from a lot of different events over the years. So, and then I met Rob Bruce as well in New York, and he was connected with him as well. So I got recruited to apply. I applied. I didn't go any further than the application process. I applied again, and I got through casting. But then when it got to actual production, they didn't want me, and they went a different way. So I had decided I was not going to do it again. Like two times rejection was enough for me. And I said, I'm done. And then I was at a show with Ming and with Rob Bruce. And they were like, Derek, why aren't you on the show? I said, I've applied twice. And they said, okay, well, apply again and let's see what we can do. So I applied, but I figured each time I applied before, I applied as Derek, the comic book fan. So I said, okay, fine. So I sent them 2 videos. I sent one as Derek, the comic book fan, and I sent one as Mr. Poppin Twist, the balloon artist of the convention world. And I got a phone call on the Derek side. They said, we like you, we want to use you. I'm like, great, let me know. And then I got a phone call from production saying, we don't want Derek, we want Mr. Poppin Twist. What can you do? I said, what do you want? They said, can you go a full-size Spider-Man balloon? I'm like, yeah, you got it. No problem. It helps that I just done one before for a movie theater, so I knew what I was doing. But yeah, so and I got, they told me what they wanted me to do, and we figured out what I was going to come talk about. And then I thought, yeah, there he is, the Spider-Man balloon, the big one hanging in the corner there.
There you go.
But yeah, so they brought me in. And Ming dropped my name, and Walt dropped my name, and I said the one thing, it's just me being greedy. I would have liked for Kevin Smith to have said Mr. Poppin Twist. He didn't say it, but it's okay. Everyone else did, and I'm all right with it. But I didn't even know I was going to make the show. The biggest part of that whole thing was they brought a lot of people in, and they recorded a lot of segments, but not every segment was ever put on the show. And my producer, who was with me the whole time, told me what to do. Like, don't talk too fast, and just be energetic. Yeah, no problem. This is what I do. And we talked. The director was there. What was so cool about that show was that it was unscripted, completely unscripted. They like a lot. Sometimes reality shows, as we know, aren't real. This show was completely, the only thing we were ever told was if we started talking about something that the director liked, he would say talk more about that. But that was it. We were never told what to talk about or where the conversation was going to go. He would just urge us on if he liked what we were doing. And we recorded about 40 minutes of footage, and it got cut down to about 5 minutes.
Wow.
But what's amazing is that I made TV at all, because I never thought it was going to happen. And they said to me when I was leaving, the producer said, "You did everything right. You didn't, step out of your light. You didn't, you did all technical stuff. You did that right. You didn't talk over everybody. It was a nice flowing conversation. They enjoyed you." I said, "Great." And as I was leaving, Brian Johnson came up to me and shook my hand and said, "Thank you so much for coming. It was a lot of fun." I got back to the green room area. Ming came to see me and said it was one of the most fun segments they'd ever had on the show. And Rob Bruce said it was a hit. Good luck with that. And then I shot that the summer before the season started, and I had to wait 9 months for it to actually appear on air.
Wow.
Wow.
9 months. I'd be so mad. I'd be like,
that's like half a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the producer told me. She said they don't know who's going to be on the show. The producers, they had 2 line producers who had their own. They split all the guests, and they would watch the show every week, and they had a weekly bet going on who had more guests on an episode in every week, because once all the footage went to the editors, the show was put together by them and had nothing to do with the production crew anymore. They were out of it, so no one knew what was going to be on the air. And so I watched every episode religiously, going, maybe this will be the one. Maybe this will be the one. And towards the end of it, I'm thinking, it's never going to work. It was a good experience. I met the guys. I got pictures. I'm happy. It's great. Well, the episode that I was on, the night that I was on it, they had preempted Walking Dead because it followed Walking Dead on AMC. So the show normally aired at midnight. So they preempted everything, and it went back. So the show didn't air till 1:30 in the morning. I happened to be awake anyway, so I said, I'll just watch this. It's fine. And as they cut to a commercial break, I hear Brian say, can you make a little Ming and I was like, oh, wait. I was there for that. I heard that one. Brian said that to me. And then when they came back from the commercial break, it was right there. And I was like, I was like Mike Wazowski in Monsters, Inc. I'm on TV.
That's amazing.
1:30 in the morning, 1:45 in the morning. I couldn't wake anybody up and tell them, So it was like I'm ecstatic. I'm freaking out. But there's like my kids are asleep, my wife's asleep, and I'm like, okay. I'll tell them in the morning.
Oh, jeez.
That's amazing.
It's like geek watching the what's good New Japan pay-per-view. Oh my god, everybody's
sleeping. Oh, that New Japan pay-per-view was well worth it last night, by the way. So
except the controversy with Sasha Banks. Was she drunk? Was she not drunk?
She botched her finisher and almost dropped Kari.
Yeah, that's the rule. Rumors going around on TikTok is like the way she spoke. The person put her speech first, what she said, and then they played it again, and he's like, "Is she drunk? Is she on something? Like, why did she say her words?"
Knows there's any number of things,
Did you be nervous? Nerves,
Oh, sure, absolutely, could be nerves. Absolutely.
Have you ever spoken in front of a crowd you don't know before? I have.
Yeah.
I don't get nervous, but there is times in my life that I've had to speak in front of other people before this podcast that I'm glad I don't have to poop.
Right.
Because I'll be Peter Griffin in a crowd.
I've spent most of my adult life performing in front of crowds, so being in front of a crowd for me is kind of like almost a bread and butter move. And especially if I'm improvising, I'm better. If I have to remember something, I'm not. There's the Lash LaRue balloon. It was one line up.
Which one?
On the side.
This one.
It's next to the cat in the pumpkin.
Oh wait, the Sheamus one, right? The red.
Yeah, that's Lash LaRue.
Lash. Oh yeah, from WCW. Lash LaRue.
Lash LaRue, who was also in my coloring book. Which, if you would have asked me as a kid if that was ever going to happen, he cut a promo for me and everything. It was awesome.
Oh man, that's for me. Remember, I'm Mr. Old School. For me, that's a happy.
Yeah. I was a big Lash LaRue. I was a Lash LaRue guy. He was my favorite cruiserweight. Yeah, hands down.
So many good ones. Other than Lash LaRue, who would you be your top 5 besides LaRue? Who would be your other?
People? Oh, just wrestlers in my lifetime, like fans of.
Or like WCW, like your like WCW cruiserweights. Like who would you say back in the day?
Okay, well, I mean, you can't not love Eddie Guerrero. I mean, that's just all there is to that. I also liked in the Luchadors. I was a Super
That's a
Carlo
cool one.
Halo fan. I liked his look, and I thought his moves were good. There she is.
Chris Statlander.
Who I've made 3 times because she keeps changing her look, so I've had to do a different version every time.
He's a heel now, right?
I don't think she has the makeup anymore. I think she just.
She was going with the black makeup for a while.
Yeah. She changed it. She had that more alien look for a while, and she changed it up, and then
I think she's human now. Didn't they say she was an alien too long on Earth? Now she's human or something.
I think so. Yeah, there's Darby Allin.
That's a cool one. That's really cool.
Well, you can say this.
I'm happy with that.
You just won the title too, so.
He did. I've made a Sting balloon for Sting, and so that was a big deal for me. I've made there's a couple of guys I've made a Booker T balloon. I'm a big Booker T guy. Booker T is easily in my top favorites of all time. And I've made a Booker T balloon of Booker T back in the day. I would love to make one for him. That would be a big. Oh, there you go. That's All Might from My Hero Academia. If you're a fan of anime.
That's a nice size one too.
In New Jersey.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of stuff going on my Instagram. My Instagram is probably hands down my most popular social media that I have because it's a photo medium, and what I work in pictures.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't want to spoil too much. I want people to go and check out Mr. Poppin Twist on Instagram, man.
Have you ever come to Pennsylvania to do your ballooning?
I have come to Pennsylvania a couple of times. I'm trying to get to a couple of shows. The issue with, and this is just to shoot straight. The issue with a guy like me is I have to create a need to go for a convention to bring me in because I don't sell balloons. I'm an entertainer first. I'm not a businessman. So people I always say you got to bring you cover me, you bring me in. I'll make you a deal. We'll work it out and make it good for everybody. I'm not looking to rake you over the coals or anything. But but I'm an attraction. I'm gonna sit in a corner. I'm gonna make 30 balloons over a weekend of like when I did Doctor Who. I did a Doctor Who convention on Long Island a couple of years ago where I did all the doctors, all at the time, all 13 doctors out of balloons, and we put them up in a big display. So that's the kind of stuff I want to do. And I'd love to do it at a wrestling event or at things like that. So it becomes an issue of if they want to bring me, I can talk to them about it. It's just the conversation doesn't go that far, unfortunately. After my comic book man appearance, I got contacted by a mall, an outdoor trade, like a trading post kind of flea market mall, and they wanted me to come down and do some stuff. And it was like, yeah, great. And I gave them a price and whatever, and the conversation ended there.
Wow.
But no, yeah, I've done a couple of things in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so I have contacts down there. My goal is I'd love to work RetroCon. I appeared at the first RetroCon with my partner in a comic book that we were trying to launch back in the first one, I guess, was 8 years ago, 7 years, almost coming 10 years ago at this point, maybe. But I appeared at the first one, and I would love to bring Mr. Poppin Twist to RetroCon. And I've asked, and Rose, who's one of the organizers and owners of it, has said I think it'd be great. And I have not yet heard back from Tony, who's the boss. So
I know Tony.
So if Tony wants to return my phone call, I'm happy to talk to him about it.
Yeah. Have you ever I know this is like kind of like the same time question, but have you ever thought about traveling over to the UK and doing
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is I have balloons will travel. I'll go anywhere really, but it's my goal in general is I don't care what the event is, if it's a wrestling show or a Comic-Con or whatever. I'm all about mutually beneficial agreements. I'm all about bartering. I'm all about I don't like there are some people in my line of work who they have a number, and if you want them to come and work for you, you have to pay this number. And I say I'll give you a number, but it's a number based on what you want me to do. Like if you want me to come as an entertainer and just sit in my corner and build large fun things and have a good time, interact with people, host events. Like I've hosted costume contests and things. You want to bring me in like that? We can make a great deal that's going to make everybody happy. You want me to come down to your event and twist balloons for 8 hours straight for fans in a line? That's a different situation, and I'll give you a different number for that. I'm open to making it work. Like I've been this close 2 times to being at WrestleMania Access. This close.
Wow.
What?
And it has not panned out. And and the guy who was actually my contact for them has since moved on from the company, so I don't think I have it in anymore. But at the time, I literally had they contacted me to appear at SummerSlam Access when it was in New York. And I gave them a whole thing. We could work it all out. And then they got back to me and said, we decided to go a different way. I was like, no problem. And then I pushed for WrestleMania, and the guy who was in charge of booking events inside of Access got a hold of me. And because I had my work has been on WWE.com back in 2015. I had a whole 30 balloons posted on WWE.com back of wrestling. Wow. And so people inside the company know who I am, which is the best thing, But yeah, so I was literally lined up to go to Access when it was in New York, and he contacted me about a week ahead and said they decided not to go with it. And I was like, "What happened?" He goes, "The bottom line is, if it's not their idea, they're not going to do it."
Oh wow!
And so it's got to come from up top. Someone told me once that it's going to take. This is going back a couple of years because Vince is not in the company right now, but it's going to take Vince McMahon to walk backstage at one event, just look at someone and go, we need a balloon twister. Get me Mr. Poppin Twist, and then I'd show up.
Hey,
there you go.
You gotta get the meme of Vince walking.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we need a balloon
never happened. That statement was ever made, unfortunately. But yeah, I would love to do that. I'd love to go to an Access. I'd love to go to big event, and have a table and just crank out as many balloons as I can as an exhibition style and as an attraction for the show. Yeah, you don't need me. You've got Kevin Nash or all these big names, big wrestler names who are the draw. I appreciate the fact they're the draw. I'm not the draw. I'm the nice. I'm the side dish, or I'm the cherry on top of the sundae. So one day I will make one of those type things happen. But in the meantime, I'm having a darn good time, working where I am working.
Yeah, amazing stuff right there, man.
I geek out. I get to go to Eternal Con and Winter Con, and meet these guys that I grew up, enjoying, and guys that were my heroes when I was a kid, and I get to make balloons of them, and so I get to use my talent and my skill to thank them for them using theirs, over their lifespan, and it's and you keep going back. It doesn't matter. Not to sound like The Rock. It doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. It doesn't, there are celebrities and they've been movie stars or TV stars or musicians. The balloon will bring out the kid in everybody. And I'm just happy to be the guy who has that balloon because it's, that joy is something that can only be felt, and I look at the pictures I take and I remember the joy that was going on, at those times. The balloons work. The balloons do the work. I make the joke. You could teach a monkey to twist balloons, and you could. And I'd watch that too. I'd love to watch a monkey twist balloons. That'd be a lot of fun. But it's about what you know the situation you put yourself in, and how you can make that connection, make that change, and enjoy what you're doing with with the balloon. It's like I come from years of performance experience. I've been in musical theater, I've been in improv comedy, I've been in front of crowds since I was probably 10 years old. But I love interacting with people. I love that give and take with an audience. And even though that audience is one person or 100 people or 1,000 people, it's an amazing vibe, and I love that connection. So I'm trying to get Mr. Poppin Twist to be kind of like a manager at a wrestling show. I've done it a couple of times. I managed Page a couple of times for FTW shows, and I love it. But he's got his own. He's got his own thing now, and it's his thing. But I actually pitched to radio, like, hey, what do you think? Maybe we can make this work and make Poppin Twist like bring Poppin Twist in to feud with Silky Smooth, and Ooh. I'll bring in some guys to fight his stable, and I said, how much fun would that be?
That'd be fun.
It's not up to me. It's not up to me. It's up to the powers that be.
The powers that be, exactly.
The powers that be that think they could top everybody off. But remember, if it wasn't for the podcasts, no one will even know who you are. Not you. Not you. Not you.
Anyway, Mr. Poppin Twist, I forgot to ask
what's up?
One question. Is there any person that you would love to make a balloon of that you've not yet made a balloon of yet?
In wrestling or just in general?
Yeah. In general, I guess.
Both.
Because in wrestling, the list is huge because it is, like I said, I've made over 225 wrestlers out of balloons, and I even scratched the surface of the wrestlers that I could make. There's always a new guy coming up. There's always somebody else. I'd love to take a crack at a boogeyman balloon. I haven't done that yet. But it's rolling in the back of my head that I want to do that. That's one that I really would like to do. I want to do that. I want to do an updated version of the Three Faces of Foley. I've done Mankind in the white shirt, but I'd like to do Cactus Jack, and I'd like to do a better, a much better Dude Love. I think I'd have a good time with that. That's just a couple of wrestlers that I just for fun, I like to do a Cowboy Bob Orton, just to, because I've done Roddy Piper and I've done Paul Orndorff, so I'd like to finish the set with a Cowboy Bob Orton.
There you go.
It would be a really cool balloon. Actually, it's kind of a challenge. A Mother Endless balloon.
I'll have to look. It would be. I'll have to look that up.
Mother Endless is a cool. You explain it, Geek, this year.
She's like a scary creature,
You have to ask Megan about her. She's familiar with her. That's one of Megan's friends.
All right. Yeah. No, I said I'm open. I like the main reason why I love to do a wrestling show or a Comic-Con or something like that is I have built-in inspiration. Li Who. Like I'm a big Doctor Who fan, so I'll go to a Doctor Who event, and I got built-in inspiration. I got actor who played a doctor over here, actor who played a companion over here. So it's like great. Now, because if left to my own devices, if I stay at my house and I go, you know what, I'm gonna make a balloon today. Well, every possibility that I've conceive of starts to roll around in my head, and I freeze up, and I go, you know what, I'm not gonna make a balloon today because I can't choose what I want to do. When I go to a convention, I go to a wrestling show, and now the inspiration is right in front of me. I go to a VPW show, and Dirty Dango is going to be there. So you know what? That's an opportunity for me to make a Fandango balloon, which I would not have thought of before that. So I go to the show and I make the Fandango balloon. Now I have it. Now I have the picture of him holding it. It's one more in the file, one more in the Poppin Twist Club, one more feather in my cap. There's a thing right now called The Last Match, the musical. Have you heard about that or not?
Yes, I have, with Zack Ryder.
Yeah, I'm all about it. Right? Yeah, I'm all about it. And so I made balloons of the characters they play, the main three characters in the show. And I would love to do that again, and I'll bring a balloon to them in person. It's now like the fifth version of Zack Ryder / Matt Cardona I've done. I've done 3 Zack Ryders and Matt Cardona, and now I've done an Alexander Swagger. You know, it's just how it lays out. You know,
You should do the bloody Zack Ryder.
yeah,
GCW style.
about it.
Yeah, you should do we have to put the, even though it'd be kind of scary for the kids, even though kids watch horror movies these days.
Yeah,
You're right.
I try to stay family friendly, but you know, on a one-off, I could do it.
Wrestlers
Yeah.
bleed. Like,
Yeah.
kids see
But,
that all the time.
If you're a wrestling fan, it's like, you know, you've seen everything.
I've seen a lot. I've seen more than I thought I'd have a chance to. I mean, and then someone told me once, like, Dan Barry, not to, you know, name drop or anything, but Dan Barry said to me at an event once, he goes, you know why you get why things work for you? I said, why? He goes, because you're a nice guy. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, no, you're a genuinely nice guy. Like, you know, like I always feel like people think I'm trying to come in like an opportunist. Like I'm not trying to use anybody. I'm just trying to use my ability to thank them the best way I know how. And I get a picture at the end of it, and with them holding a balloon. Like I've commented numerous times, I'd rather have a picture of a celebrity holding my balloon, or a birthday boy from a birthday party holding my balloon, than me being in the picture with whoever it is. I don't have to be in that picture. If my work is in the picture, then that's the point. Like that's what I've done. I made that. And they enjoyed that. So the exchange of energy and joy has been given. Now I'm not gonna lie, it's nice to get those pictures. You know, I got, you know, I've been pictures with Sting and with Lita and Trish, and you know, a lot of like, you know, I got a picture I did a picture of Flash Gordon, Sam J. Jones, Flash Gordon, and I made a balloon of Flash Gordon, which I've seen that movie 1,000 times, and I grew up loving that movie. And you know, I can quote it to you. And so I made a balloon of the guy himself for the guy himself. I geeked out, you know, pretty big when that happened. So, you know, it's like I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing and hope for the best. You know, be optimistic.
Yeah, keep going, and you're doing you. As I said, you probably don't get the credibility that you should get, because parents probably don't say the thank yous to you, but when they're home and the kid's still quiet after 3.5 hours after a wrestling show, and then you hear the pop sound and they're crying, but you probably don't hear it because it's so quiet in the house.
No, I trust me, I get appreciation, and I appreciate that appreciation. But yeah, it's like, you know, I like the coloring book. I mentioned the coloring book that I put out last year. I did it for charity, because during COVID quarantine, we were all sitting around, you know, people were not doing anything. So my kids and I went on my social media, and I was doing live shows every day on Instagram and on Facebook. And I asked artist friends of mine, like, hey, could you do a coloring page for me? I'll post it on my Facebook page. People can print it out and color it, and we can make it interactive, you know, and kids can send the pictures, and I'll post them, you know, just like old school kids show kind of stuff, you know. And they did. And when it was all said and done, I had 8 really cool pictures, and I wanted to find out a way I could use that better than just to be, you know, I'll bring them to, you know, to this event, or I'll bring them to that event. So I made some calls, and I asked some favors, and I got 8 more artists involved. And so then I had 16 pages, and I put the coloring book out because I was like, no, I'm not gonna sell it for me. I paid to have it printed out of my pocket, and then that way all the money can go right out to the charity. And so I was thrilled that we made $500 on donations from
Wow.
a small print coloring book, you know. And I split that money up, and we donated it. I'm like, you know what? I want to try it again, because I don't know what's going to happen. So I asked a bunch of people. I'm hoping to get 16 more. If I don't get 16, I'll change the plan and see what's up. You know, because people are busy, especially now. People are busy, and they don't have time to, you know, to necessarily, you know, a lot of artists are working deadlines because they're getting paid. So it's difficult to have, you know, to free that time up for a donation for a project, you know, which I can appreciate. I always tell people, look, if you're working, that's great. You're working. I don't mind. You want to tell me no, tell me no. We're still going to be friends. I'm not offended. You know, I'm asking you a favor. You can't do it. No big deal, you know? so I got another one. I got another one in the works. I hope to have it out by February if all my people come through. And I'll and I got some fun art in that one as well. And it's a lot of fun for me because it's like like Pop and Twist to me is a picture. It says me on 11. It's just this fun, whimsical kind of character that's just me heightened. And I just love how different artists take that and they're inspired by their own art and their own style to do it differently. So some of it's really whimsical. Some of the ones that I've gotten so far for this next coloring book are a little more on the Halloween inspired side, which is really kind of cool. It's a different kind of vein. Because like I look at as a wrestling fan, I look at Mr. Pop and Twist as an Uber face. He's not going all in like Hulk Hogan. Take your vitamins, say your prayers. But I look at him. I look at that. He's a good guy, family friendly, and all this kind of stuff. And the more I do that, the more I'm told by a lot of guys that I have to become a heel manager. That's what they want. They want to see Mr. Pop and Twist, evil Mr. Pop and Twist, as a heel manager. And I'm like, but I want to be a good guy. I don't want to be a bad guy. But I don't know. I'll go where the ocean flows, I guess.
Yeah, I can't picture that. Use a heel manager move. No, or it doesn't make sense. You make people happy.
You could be the Bobby that you never know this, Mr. Pop and Twist. You could be the next Bobby the Brain Heenan and would be hanging out with you right now.
From your lips to God's ears.
But then again, you did cut.
Try that.
You did cut good promos against Brandon.
Talking is Brandon.
Yeah, that was actually classic stuff right there.
Well, that's the thing. Like I come from a performance background. Like I said, I've been acting and performing and entertaining for my entire adult life. So when I see a wrestler, I see the same thing. Your entertainment. I'm not trying to say like sports entertainment, but you're putting your body. A wrestler puts his body on the line. I am not taking away from them. A wrestler is they are putting the sacrifice in that, and that's what they're trying to do. I'm not trying to usurp that. I'm not trying to say that it's not valued because it is valued. And I appreciate them putting their body on the line for that. My attitude is I have skills as well that I feel that I can bring to that situation to make everybody have much more fun. And so if I can help bring more fun and I can help bring people in, then I like to do that. But as a performer, having the opportunity to play around with Brandon, in the 23/6 title picture was a lot of fun. I talked to, I shot the idea out of trying to do something, so when Johnny had his run with Johnny Collins, was doing his run in VPW with Even Stevens, I was like, you know what? Hey, I'll come and let's make something fun. I'll jump in the ring. I'll jump to Even Stevens, just because you're never going to expect that. Who's going to expect Mr. Pop and Twist, the balloon guy from the table, 20 yards from the ring, running to the ring and whacking who would see that coming? It'd be fun. No one would expect that.
NWO angle. You just start a stable right there.
Right. Yeah.
You Papadenka and Brandon.
Oh, geez. Just out of nowhere, just NWO the ring.
Yeah. We need at least one actual wrestler in there to make that worthwhile. We can't just walk in there and not have somebody who can climb in the ring. But
Jack. It gotta be Jack, man.
Hey, I would be happy to do that. I have I'm friends with for a long time with an independent wrestler out of Pennsylvania. You may have heard of him. He is Mr. PB Smooth.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah,
he's familiar.
And PB Smooth I've known since he was much younger than he is now, and I have always said because he's Pretty Boy Smooth, and we have Johnny Pretty Boy Collins, and I said to radio, it's real simple. You get me into a situation where I'm head to head with the Even Stevens and Johnny Pretty Boy Collins, and I will get you Pretty Boy Smooth, and he will come and be 1,000 feet taller than Johnny Collins, and it'd be a battle of the Pretty Boys. It writes itself.
Yeah.
You got it, and you
Yes.
have to have it when I'm coming. So me and how Geek knows me and Johnny Collins' character storylines,
Uh-huh.
we hate each other. So I come out and then he come and be like, I come out of the set, hey Collins, there's another pretty boy here, and he's about to take your face off. And then turn around and there you go, and you're like,
You know, but these guys, it's their company, and they've got their line, and that's what they do. And I'm not trying to take over anything. I'm just trying to add some things wherever I can. And you know, selfishly, am I trying to make Mr. Pop and Twist a little bit more than quote unquote just the guy who does balloon at birthday parties? Yes, I am. But that's because I come from a performance background. I want to take that to the next level. You know, I want to make it something else. You know, it's just it's a little ambitious, but but it's done out of respect. It's done out of respect for these guys because I respect the heck out of what they do on a daily basis. You know, and I make the joke though. It's like, a guy wrestles for an hour. He's called an Iron Man. Well, I twisted balloons for 8 hours. What does that make me?
Iron Balloon Man?
It's like, it's like 8 hours straight. I twisted balloons. A line never ended for 8 straight hours. I'm moving, I'm twisting, I'm talking, I'm bouncing. I would say that's equivalent to an hour in the ring, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's what I said. You're the Iron Balloon Man.
That's right. But all I can do is put it out there. All I can do is put it out there and hope for the best, and just keep putting out my best efforts, and then just hope that people want to see it.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky in the wrestling world to be a part of things. There's a guy out of the Midwest. He's on TikTok, and his name is I Am Twisted Mister, and he does balloon wrestlers as well. He has a different style than I have. And it's a little quicker as far as the balloon style, but his Sharpie art is like second to none. He does a really amazing drawings on the outside of the balloons. Really brings it all together. And I tried to start a feud with him on TikTok on who's the best balloon based wrestling creator. And but the problem is that I don't have anywhere near 1,000 followers yet, so I can't go live. I have 705 followers on TikTok, so I'm
not like that on TikTok either.
I can't crack that TikTok code.
I don't know what I did. I just saw wrestlers on TikTok. That's what you got to do, Pop and Twist. Anytime you see a wrestler like you do on Instagram saying, "Oh, there's a wrestler," you see a wrestler, you check their page first, see if they really have wrestling moves in the ring, and you follow them.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Yeah.
You make sure they're not a kid with a wrestling toy going, "Oh God, hey, name drop," and have music in the background on TikTok. You're like, that's not a wrestling shake of the head from the Panther.
Right. Yeah, no. It was and instead I'm an old school fan. Like I don't watch I gotta be honest, I don't watch the product as much now as I did even 2 years ago. There's a lot of things about the current wrestling product that I don't enjoy. On the in the AEW, WWE kind of thing, and I focus more on independent. I've shifted to enjoying more independent wrestling. So I don't watch the big shows as much as I used to, but I'm still a fan of wrestling. I'm still a fan of the art of wrestling. I'm still a fan of the guys and the girls who put their bodies on the line to do it. And so it's and I call myself a tertiary figure in the world of wrestling. I'm not in it. I'm just kind of on the outside floating around, but I'm out. One of these days I might get to go in there and give it a shot.
Yeah.
But and that's why I do stuff. I do stuff like with Papa Dank and Brendan. I get to cut a promo and and have a title belt and show I tell people everything I do on social media is an audition. Everything I do. I don't mean it like I'm not performing it like that, but I know inside that everything I put out there, someone's going to see. So I put out my best effort wherever I can, be it a wrestling promo, be it a commercial. If I'm plugging something, like I'm a brand ambassador for Super Show, the card game. I've been in the card game now for for 6 years. 6 years I've been in the card game. And it's like, and I have a great time, doing that. I'll do commercials for them, and I'll pitch stuff for them. It's like Mr. Poppin Twist is a tertiary figure of pro wrestling. He's there, but he's not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll keep it going. We'll just keep it going.
Yeah, exactly. So Mr. Poppin Twist, do you do birthday parties too, or
yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
You have an hint to the mod, like, birthday party, July.
Yeah.
I do everything. I do birthday parties. I do communions, christenings. I do grand openings. I do anniversary parties. I was thinking about wrestling a couple years ago. I got booked for two guys' 30th birthday party, and all I did was make wrestlers for 3 hours.
Oh, jeez.
I just went table to table. Oh, who do you want? Who do you want? So I made Hulk Hogan, The Rock, Undertaker, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, Bailey. I made Andre. I made. I
was about to say, do a double pack of Andre and Bobby. That's who I would want you to make: Bobby the Brain Heenan and Andre.
Yeah, I did Bobby the Brain Heenan, and I did the Brain Busters together.
Oh, wow.
Well, I was for 6 years, I did my Road to WrestleMania series on my social media for the month of March. Every day, I posted a new balloon wrestler every day for the entire month of March, leading up to WrestleMania, and I did that. Yeah. I did that for 5 years, and what was cool about it was if I missed the day, then my promise to the audience and my fan base was, if I missed the day, the next day you get a tag team. So sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, to break kayfabe a little bit, I would skip a day on purpose so I could do the tag team the next day.
Wow, that's amazing dedication.
But then other days I didn't. Other days I missed it, and then so think of a tag team, So I put out a lot of tag teams, and then I would put out, one or 2 days I would miss, I would legit miss an extra day. So I would do Demolition. So I'd have Axe and Smash and Crush, or I would do the Brain Busters with Bobby Heenan, or I would do Enzo Amore and Carmella and Big Cass.
Oh God, that'd be cool if you met them and you got a chance to give Enzo his
Yeah, I never met Enzo. There's a laundry list of people who I have met, and an even bigger laundry list of people I haven't met.
Oh, okay.
I said I've made a lot more balloons of wrestlers than I've made for wrestlers. But I mean, I've made a balloon. I've made a balloon for, like I said, Roddy Piper, China, Mick Foley numerous times, Gold Dust, Bully Ray, Greg the Hammer Valentine. Since half of VPW, Brian Myers, Matt Cardona. Most of Long Island Wrestling. Most of Long Island Wrestling, I've made balloons for. And then I made a balloon for Sting. I made a balloon for Jerry Lawler. I made a balloon for Gangrel. I made a balloon for Emma. Well, not Emma anymore, but Emma at the time. So it's, and I work social media, so I put it out there so people, if they know they're coming to Long Island and they're coming to a VPW show or a Creative Pro show, or I haven't worked much with them lately. I used to work with them more in the past. I used to work at Ringside Collectibles a lot. I'm hoping to get that relationship back because that was a lot of fun working with them. My goal is that it's always about it. My goal is to be known. My goal is to be recognized. My goal is to have a reputation that comes before me. So if a wrestler's coming to Long Island, they go, "Hey, maybe there's a chance I might meet this populous guy and get a balloon of me. Why not? Why not aim for the top?" That's my attitude. So
yeah.
Do
you have any poppin' pets?
Do I have any poppin' pets?
Yeah, she's asking if you have pets. If you have any pets.
No, I don't have a pet. My daughter has a guinea pig, and her name is Poofus Doofus.
Doofus.
Yeah, so that's my
Julia Gulia.
Yeah, we unfortunately we are. I'm a dog person. My wife is a dog person. We do like dogs. My father. My son and I are both allergic to cats, so we really can't have a cat. My daughter would love to have a cat, but unfortunately she can't. But we just don't have the time right now between my wife's working, my working, because I work in a school during the school year, and I work pop and twist nights and weekends and summers. So we're not home enough to have a dog right now, So
Tell your kids you're gonna get a balloon pet. No,
that's right. Oh well, I mean,
Balloon.
when my daughter was young, my daughter's gonna be 13, but when my daughter was like 2, she would come to me and she would take the same balloon out of my balloon belt, the same color balloon every day, and I would make her the same balloon dog every day. I did that for about 3 months. Where she and then as she got older, she would start to take a Sharpie and like draw on the balloon. So yeah, so I've made her all kinds of balloon dogs for sure.
It's crazy.
I'd be like,
So
make me a cat. Done.
Yeah, I make a lot of cats.
make me a bicycle.
Don't get that started, geek.
bicycle clown.
He could do it. See, he could do it too with it.
The bike, yeah. Well, I mentioned before the bicycle thing. When I first started as a balloon artist, I would get that joke all the time, and I would always respond with, "Oh, you've seen Wedding Crashers, I guess, huh?" And then I would follow that up with, if I had a nickel every time I heard that joke, I could retire as a balloon artist. I wouldn't need to do this. And then, like I was mentioning before, my wife volunteered me to help ride the Montauk, and the guy who booked me asked for 100 balloon bicycles, and I got to 50 and couldn't fit more in my car. I called him, and he said, "Hey, you know what? It's raining. We're not going to use the balloons, but thank you anyway." But now I had 50 balloon bicycles, so I gave them to my son to take to school. I gave them to people. Some of them I just popped, whatever. But after 50 of any balloon, once you can make it, I can make that one blindfolded practically. So if someone asks me for a bicycle, I have to stop and go, "Do you want the balloon, or are you making a joke? Just let me know which way we're going on this one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, man. So, and did you watch the movie? Was that Wedding Crashers before?
Wedding Crashers, yeah.
That was before.
Oh yeah, before. I went to Twisting Balloons. If you add up all the time, I was between like my actual professional career and the time before that, it's about 12 and a half years I've been twisting balloons. So I've been twisting balloons since 2000 and about 2000 and probably 9. I've been twisting balloons. Yeah. But I've been professional since 2011. Late 2010, early 2011. So yeah, I've been twisting it a while. A drop in the bucket to some, and a lifetime to others.
Yeah. So if people want to book you for like a wedding, where could people book you?
Oh, exactly. I mean, I'm easy to get a hold of. I'm on pretty much every social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I am on TikTok. As mentioned before, I don't dance, so don't come and TikTok looking for the dance. I'm not a dancing guy. I don't do that.
Dang it.
I know exactly. But
Pop a twist for Joe in a dance contest. Let's do it.
I do have a website. Like I said, it's down right now. I hope to have it up very soon. It's mrpoppintwist.com. But yeah, you can get a hold of all my contact information is on all my social media. I'm very upfront with all that kind of stuff. And I book out. I mean, I have things on my schedule right now as far as August for this year. So and I actually booked a communion party for this last May. So that's the longest I ever had something on my schedule was a year in advance, which I'm booked to work in May of 2023. But yeah, mrpoppintwist.com, MRPOPPINTWIST, like poppin' fresh with a twist. And I'm an easy guy to find, for sure.
Yeah. Also, are you going to? Do you have any upcoming events too, or?
I got some private events. For the
like actual public. I mean, public.
Yeah. As of now, I'm looking at my schedules for the. I'm approaching conventions, trying to see what we can do. I will be again. I will be at Free Comic Book Day on the first weekend and the first Saturday in May. So I will be there. I'll be there from 11 to 1 at Comic Book Depot, and from 2 to 4 I'll be at Genesis Comics and Games. That's for sure. I'm looking. I will probably most likely be at TurtleCon this year. It's the 10th anniversary, so I'll look to be there. And I have some feelers out for some other conventions. and I will take Mr. Poppin Twist anywhere. You know, if they invite me, we can make it happen.
Will you be VPW also, or you don't?
I'm
you don't know
hoping
yet?
to. I'm hoping to. I took a break at the end of last year for a little while. I haven't. I mean, to be honest, I haven't been as busy at the last couple of VPW shows that I have been in the past. It's not for lack of them having a crowd. They have a great crowd. It's just it's not the same crowd who's coming in to me. So I want to like leave for a little while, and then maybe they'll miss me and I'll come back. But yeah, no, I was loving making balloons for the guys, which was no problem. But I wouldn't mind making balloons for a few more fans too, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm hoping even if I don't perform at VPW in February, I'm hoping still to show up.
Yeah, all right. So, Mr. Poppin Twist, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, especially last minute, dude.
Oh, thank you guys.
Being on our season premiere.
Right, that's it.
Yeah.
Now
Thank you so much,
you got champions after me. Nothing, no big deal.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the opening of the season, and definitely we'll have you back on a future episode. Some
Appreciate that.
line. I'm Joe Panther the Third.
I'm the Metal Geek.
I'm Mr. Poppin Twist.
And we will catch you in the next one. Flying away.